And hello to the great, big, beautiful world and all its great, wonderful, amazing people. My name is Justin, and I wanted to thank you for stopping by here on the podcast. This morning, I woke up with something on the mind, and it's actually part of the book that I'm currently writing called A Road Less Traveled. And it talks about basically the things that we do in life and the choices that we make and how they affect us. And it goes all the way back to my early childhood of being taught lessons from my grandparents to my mom and dad and the things that they tried their best to instill in me, and fighting with temptation growing up through school and, everything else that the world throws at you, and being so young that you want something so bad in life, but yet it always seems like it's so far out of reach that there's nothing that you can do and that it's never going to happen. And today I wanted to talk about the fact that it costs something to be me. And usually whenever I say that, the first thing that you probably take away from that is, oh, this guy sounds kind of conceited. He sounds real arrogant and he sounds real cocky about who he is. Well, the thing is that I'm very self-confident in who I am when I used to not be. I've always known who I am. I've always known what I wanted. And I've always known what it took to get to that and to achieve that. Where I'm at now and what I'm doing now with the money that I'm making, with the wife that I have, the lifestyle that we live, that did not come easy. It come with pain. It come with sacrifice. It come with walking away from things that I love. But it's things that I did, and I'm happy that I did. And when I say it costs something to be me, that's actually a phrase that I want people to start telling themselves. It's something I believe everybody should be telling themselves. I do believe it's a great motivator to help boost their own self-confidence, which is something I feel like a lot of people are lacking. Even if you've never done anything really great, even if you've never really achieved going to the moon or anything like that, you still got to understand and recognize that it did cost something to get you to where you are now. You have gone through some heartbreaks. You have gone through some trauma. You have done and dealt things in life that just don't seem fair. But nonetheless, here you are today, living and breathing, which means that your purpose has not been fulfilled yet, and there's still more work to be done. So any moment that you're feeling out there like, I'm just not that person, I guess I'll never amount to much, I guess this person was right about me. No, you stop for a second and you tell yourself, something, it does cost something to be me. I don't care if you're famous. I don't care if you're not famous. I don't care if you're rich, you're poor. I don't care what country you live in. I don't care where you are. If you're alive on this planet and you've gone through life in any stage at all and made it to any age, it has cost something for you to be you. And that's what I mean whenever I say that. It's not a conceited way of looking at myself and saying I'm on a pedestal higher than everybody else. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the things that I have materialistic wise or the lifestyle that we live, I didn't pay full cash for. My wife's got a nice car that I bought her, but guess what? It comes with a note every month. We've got a beautiful home that I was able to build at the age of 26. It comes with a note every month. The land that we live on comes with a note every month. It's not like I have just pockets full of money or anything like that, but we do live a comfortable lifestyle along with those things that I've always wanted. And I wanted to talk about that being the dream when I was younger, was having nice things and wanting to make my parents proud. Because that's something else whenever you're a kid, is you want to do so much for the people that did so much for you growing up, your parents especially. Especially when it gets around the holidays, everybody starts looking and realizing like, hey, these people deserve the moon, and the best thing I can do is, give them gift cards. I wish I could do so much more for them. And I'll never forget, my mom looked at me one day. She said, if you really want to do something for me, she said, keep your house. Keep getting up, keep going to work, keep paying your bills. And even though I wasn't always able to do as much for my parents, and probably honestly never will for everything they always did for me, I always stayed out of trouble. I always went to work. I always did what I was supposed to, because even before I found God, even before I grew up a little bit, there was still a part of me that told myself, your parents, your family, they've got enough going on right now. The last thing they need you is acting out. The last thing they need in life is you acting out and getting in trouble. And honestly, that was my conscience speaking to me that saved me. That was God speaking to me then, telling me, I need you to grow up and I need you to mature a little bit here. And speaking of a life with God, it's really the main center point of what I wanted to talk about today, is that it's going to cost you something. And it's something I feel like you don't hear in church preached about enough. It's something that parents don't really tell their kids enough, because the thing of it is that there is a horror side to finding a life with God. God is good. God is great. He works us. He does blessings. He performs miracles in our lives. It's something that I believe, and I think that I have seen personally in my life, but I've also seen evil in my life. And it gets hard to follow God sometimes. It gets extremely hard, because the enemy is always right there with temptation. The enemy's smart. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but the enemy is clever. He knows how to take what you like, what you don't like, your fears. He knows how to break you. And everybody out there can feel like they're so righteous when they go to church or sing or whatever it may be, that the enemy's got nothing on them. No, the enemy's working on you in his own ways and in your own ways. And if you're not careful, if you're not talking to God enough about it, if you're not trusting in him as much as you should be, then the enemy can sneak into your life and start ripping you apart, tearing you to shreds, and you don't even realize it. So I wanted to get out here and talk about that this morning, the fact that it's going to cost you something. And my message mainly is targeted towards our teenagers that are going through high school and kids that are fixing to graduate and go to college. When I was in school, and I'm fixing to dispel everything here, things that I didn't ever want to admit to, things that I felt ashamed of myself for, but now I look back and I'm actually very proud of who I am, and I don't care what other people think. When I was going through school, I hit a really hard, rough patch of my life. But I always knew that I wanted to be somebody. And whether it was my brother that was my guardian angel all those years, my papa or my aunt, if it was God, if it was Jesus, or honestly, I don't know. But I know something was there keeping me on the right track. I was a virgin until I met my wife. God's honest truth. I've never done drugs, and I can lay my hand on the Bible and tell you that I've actually never physically ever touched a cigarette. I've touched a can of dip before many times, because that's what my dad always did, and I'd always have to go run and grab it for him, or, you know, if I was in the kitchen or something, he'd ask me to bring it, so I can't say I've never touched one of those, but I've actually physically never touched a cigarette before. And my podcast today is not downing anybody that's ever done any of those things. Everybody has different walks of life, comes from different areas, around different people, and people have different reasons and motivations, and they have different beliefs and things. And so my podcast today is not to break down anybody that's ever done any one of those things. That's not what I'm about. That's not at all what I'm about. Who I'm talking to is a kid who might be in that same situation right now. And this is a cruel world full of cruel people who have had so much growing up and so much maturing to do. And I want to talk to the kid that reminds me a lot of myself. You know that you want a nice house one day. You know you want to raise a good family one day. You know you want a good paying job. And everywhere you look today, nobody's talking about that stuff. The ones that are, you get kind of singled out and you get kind of tossed to the side. Like, what is he talking about? You know what you want in life. But the enemy's around your corner every step of the way trying to throw you off track. And I'm not saying that anybody out there who's ever had kids early or during high school or out of high school, you know, did the absolute wrong thing and that your kids aren't blessings. I do believe kids are blessings and everything in its own time. But what a lot of people also don't want to admit sometimes is that maybe your kids are blessings, but God wanted you to have them a little later on in life. He had something better and prepared and set up, but you wouldn't wait. You didn't do the right steps. You didn't follow the right procedures. You didn't listen to them. And it's one thing to follow God when everything's going right. It's another thing when you don't even have a relationship with God, but something keeps telling you that this isn't the right way. When everybody singles you out as an outcast, when nobody wants to sit with you at lunch, when everybody talks about you, when everybody tries to use you, when everybody has always got something to say about you because you don't do what everybody else does. It takes something to perform that. When everybody else is talking about having sex all through high school and going to parties and nobody else has a job and you have no relatability to any of that because you have the opposite lifestyle. You're working towards something, you know what you want, but yet everybody else is on a totally different page than you. I have liked people in my past. Things didn't work out. I have had a chance to break every single one of those. I have had a chance to do drugs. I have had a chance to smoke cigarettes. I have had a chance to drink and get drunk. I've had a chance to get in trouble and go to jail. I've had a chance to get somebody pregnant. I've had a chance to do it all. It's not that it wasn't ever there available to me. It was right there just like it was for everybody else. And I chose no. I chose to keep to my guns. And I'm going to pursue this dream. I'm going to pursue what God has in store for me. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care. I know what I want. And now that I look back, I built the house of my dreams at the age of 26. I have always worked, met great people, learned a lot. I may not have always made really good money, and that's why I kept making career changes. But I've always got a good chance and a good opportunity to learn so much, to grow in this world. I met the woman of my dreams and married her at 27. When you meet somebody and there's no trying anymore, there's no trying, there's no breaking character, there's no having to change who you are deep down inside so that you can please somebody else, there's no being miserable and upset. It's just a good, fun life. You've found the right person. And there's people out there that are older than I am, that have been single longer than I am, that knows what they want. But boy, that enemy's around your corner every step of the way, wanting you to commit sin, wanting you to give in, telling you like, you know what, you ought to just throw away because it's never going to happen if you don't do this. You ought to go sleep with this person. You ought to go talk to this person. Everybody else is doing it. Fall in line. It takes something. It takes guts and nerves of steel to stay true to that. To say, I know what I want in life. I know what God is leading me to. And my message to the churches out there, anybody's listening to this that runs a church, is part of a church that deals anything with kids, please heed my warning on this. Our kids today are being exposed to so much. By the age of 4, I can guarantee you that they know way more than you probably even do about things that you've never even thought of. Because the world is right there at their fingertips, on that phone, on that TV. And not even through that. It's when they go to school and they're around kids who do have it at their fingertips. And they get exposed to it through that. And what the church is going to have to start answering is the hard and tough questions. The church is going to have to sit down and explain this stuff and talk about this stuff. And the church is going to have to be real. The church is going to have to be real and look at them and say, this ain't going to be no easy road. You're going to be tempted. You're going to fight the devil every step of the way. And there are going to be some times God gets silent on you when you need him the most. There are going to be some things God puts you in that you understand and know that there's no other way out than God. And you're not going to understand and realize that till you get much older one day. And your level of faith, your level of trust is something that you've got to build with God in your own relationship. It's not something I can do for you. Not something your pastor, your parents, it's something that you got to learn to grow with on your own. You're going to have to watch the rest of the world do whatever it wants to do, and you're going to have to be left out. You're going to have to be an outcast. You're going to have somebody talk about you. And while all that is going on, you're going to have to learn to turn the cheek. You're going to have to learn to still pray for them and love them regardless. Because at the end of the day, anybody can say what they want to in high school or junior high or whatever. Everybody can act as big and tough and like they're going to be something. At the end of the day, everybody grows up to be an adult, paying bills and trying to make their way in the world. And the sooner you learn to look and be happy with your life and the road that God has put you on, the better off you're going to be. But it's up to you. What do you want in life? What are you willing to do to achieve that? What are you willing to sacrifice to get to that dream? I encourage you to stay on the right track. I encourage you to take the road less traveled. I encourage you to remind yourself every day that it costs something to be you. And I encourage you every step of the way to remember that it's not going to be easy. It wasn't for me. But I look at my life now and I'm so glad that I stuck to my guns, that I didn't bend, that I stayed true to who I was and what I wanted. And I got there. I actually got there. As crazy as this world is, as much as everybody looks down on hard work now, as much as everybody looks down on people who decide to keep their virginity until they find the right person, as much as all this stuff that's right seems square and what's wrong seems right, in the world that we live in today, it costs something to live that life. It's going to cost your friends. It's going to cost your work. It's going to cost you so much. But let me tell you, it's worth it. And this ain't coming from someone in their 60s. This is coming from someone that's not that much older than you are. So I love you guys. You guys hang tight out there. You keep waking up every day. You keep going out there. You keep putting those work boots on. You keep putting food on the table for your family. If you're still in school, you keep striving for that dream. You start realizing what that goal is, what you really want. You make your parents proud. You do the right things in life. And if you're surrounded by a group of people that make you feel horrible for sticking by who you truly are, get a new circle. Toss them out and say, hey, look, much love to y'all, but I got to do something different because I'm sick and tired of y'all making me feel so low every day. Sorry, it just ain't working out for me. I know who I am. I'm not breaking so that I can please y'all. Y'all got y'all's life. I'm living mine. I know what I want. And that's the decision that I'm going to make. I love you guys. Keep it up out there. And I'll see you in another video.